What is up, Andres? We are
What's
live. Welcome to the To Be Alive podcast. For the guests, this is a new series that I'm starting as part of this podcast where Andres and I are going to be having regular conversations, just chatting about whatever it is that we feel is in our awareness that week. And the idea was kind of to have a space for us to connect weekly, a dedicated space that we can kind of see over time as we go through our own journeys, kind of like how we evolve. So it's really cool to have kind of like an artifact of every week in our life, you know. So that's kind of where this came from. We have amazing conversations in real life. So one day we were just like, we should probably just record these and share them with people. So this is my friend Andres. Do you want to give a quick introduction?
Sure. I guess born and raised in Miami. I'm kind of one of those people that doesn't like to do what everybody tells you to do. So figured out as fast as possible how to not have a regular job. And, there's the ups and downs, but I kind of do my thing. And I'm here in Austin, and it's kind of one of those spiritual meccas. It's what brought Akaash over here. And I think there's something about this place. I think eventually life will continue to look less like the norm in terms of work, but more like this spiritual mecca thing. So we'll see. It's a little bit about me.
I love it. I love it. Amazing. All right. Let me ask you. Actually, I think that's a great starting place if we're just talking about Austin. So,
Hmm.
when did you move to Austin?
May 5th, 2023. So I came on a bit of a work trip, so to speak. I was looking at how a certain business operated and was thinking about like either starting something in a similar space. And my business partner had an existential crisis on the last part of the trip, which was in Austin. We went from Florida, Miami to Tallahassee and all these other cities, ended up here. And yeah, I stayed for an extra week and I didn't come back. I brought 1 week worth of clothes, called my mom and said, "Hey, I'm not leaving. Can you ship me some clothes?" And I never, I never went back.
What was it about Austin that you think was so alluring to you? Like, why Austin of all cities?
It was the people. I went and played pickleball at some random park, and on like the first couple of days that I was here, and by the end of a couple games, people were telling me like, "Hey man, like, what's your story? Blah blah. Where are you from?" And then they were like, "You want to go on this boat party with us?" And I was like, "What? Like, you just met me. Like, how are you inviting me on a boat party?" And in Miami, it took me, I made more friends in Austin in 1 week than I had in like 3 months in Miami. So I was like, all right, something about this place.
I have such a similar experience. I mean, like, I came here last year in June for the first time just to visit. I mean, not for,
Hmm.
I technically came the year before for a bachelor's party, but that's not the right, like, context to explore a city. You know, you're just trying to party.
Mm.
Um, and so when I came last year, I remember on the walks, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. Austin has a weekly walk here. Not Austin. Someone here hosts a weekly walk in Austin every Saturday morning, and I attended a walk last year. And I remember literally like halfway through the walk, someone I just met invited me to a party that day,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I don't even live here, dude.
It's amazing. What how would you feel if we did like an energetic check-in on how where we're at right now? Because like this is probably my second or third time ever on a pod. This is the first time we're ever doing it. There always feels like there's a formality when I start a pod, and I'm like, I think what we desire is the lack of formality. Um, and so like
I love it, dude. You
I'm like, yo, what's the energy, my boy? Let's just keep it real. Um, you want
I'm
to
game.
start? You want to kick us off?
Yeah, man. So I actually came into this feeling there's always nerves. I haven't
Mm,
done a podcast since last year in like September, and it was my first time doing a podcast ever at the time. So this is still new to me. I'm still learning how to do this. So obviously there's some nerves coming in, and then I just had a busy day, like work wise. I have a lot of stuff going on. Things are trying to pick up at this kind of like startup-y thing that I joined, which you know about. So
oh, I
um,
know.
yeah, so there's a lot of like I would say pent up energy right now. So I
Mm,
do feel kind of like
mm.
I also had like a coffee 2 hours ago, and that makes a big difference when I'm feeling a little bit low. So that's something else too. So I would say I'm feeling excited, energized, and borderline jittery right now.
Fair. I think this is good because we can use that to like bring us into where we are. Like I actually was feeling a bit uneasy today. I'm gonna go right into it right now. I'm going derailing the podcast. Yesterday was really, really hard for me because of something that happened when you and I were together and we were with our friend Ashley. And I shared something with you guys that I think is one of the most vulnerable things. It has to do with something that you voiced as like my core wound, and I didn't even know that that was an idea. It was very new to me, and something something happened earlier that day that kind of opened this thing, and I was hanging out with you guys, and I decided to share it with you guys instead of just kind of leaving and maybe taking some of my time. And there was so much that came up, and it left me in such a vulnerable and like raw place after, because I was like, these guys saw me in a space that I wasn't pretty, I wasn't regulated, yeah. And I was like, I hadn't even seen some of this stuff in my, like I'd seen it, but I hadn't seen it, I let other people see it in real time. Um, and so I left kind of vulnerable, and I woke up today with a little bit of like, okay, like my friends kind of saw this, and were we still going to be like, what's it going to look like? And when you texted me like, yo, I'm excited for the pod, I just remember being like, damn. I was like, that doesn't, like, this is kind of what real friendship looks like, where you get to see all sides of each other and there's still like love. Um, and as you texted me that, I was picking up this like little O-ring light and little lamp because I also was excited. Um, but it's, yeah, when you're faced with the thing that is most vulnerable to you, there's like a period of time before you like learn the lesson and like integrate and like kind of own the insecurity, that I think it's hard to be around people. Um, and so that was a little bit of what like today carried into.
Thanks for sharing, man. I
Yeah.
love how you just took the reins and were like, none of this surface level BS. Let's get straight into the good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Can I ask you about that? And you can
Please.
share anything you want or nothing at all. Um, do you mind sharing with our listeners what that was that came up for you in whatever way you feel comfortable?
It's just crazy because it's like you're like asking me to do the thing on blast. Um, he's like, "Yo, take that small thing that you felt just with your two friends," and he's like, "Give it to the world." Um, so I thought about this a little bit today. It's still unprocessed, so this is gonna be like also raw. I realize at first I thought this was maybe like an abandonment issue thing that was coming up, and the more I realized it today, I'm like, I don't really care if someone like stops being my friend, or like if someone were to tell me like there's tension with a friend of mine, um, it usually brings discomfort, and here's I'm gonna get to as to why. This is what I've been realizing. If someone were to be like, oh, we have tension, whatever, but they just never want to talk to me again, or they tell me like, yeah, bro, I don't really mess with you. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm out of here. It doesn't hurt me in a way of like, oh my gosh, like I want to be their friend, blah, blah, blah. So it doesn't give me like this abandonment scare, but it gives me, there's another thing that happens to me, and this has been a pattern since I was young, that I realized that like, I don't like having tension between someone that I love and it never being addressed. As long as if I stay in their space, it really bothers me. Like if we never see each other again, okay, whatever, the loop is closed. But having open loops for some reason in my life, it just like creates this turmoil that makes me not have this like happy feet energetic self. Like Akaash has seen it, but like I'm the kind of guy that I'm just smiling and dancing and singing in public and singing in the car, and I just like to be expressive with my hands, and I'm just like, but then I lose that when I feel that tension, and it's something that I can't resolve for some reason. And so with a friend of mine, we were really close for a while. And we still run in similar circles, but he's very much the type who grew up in a house where you don't talk about things, you don't address things, you don't have an honest conversation. Hey man, this thing you did made me feel this way. And so when in our friendship, I did things that bothered him over the span of months and I had no idea. And so he went from being really like open and warm to more cold and more cold. And I never really understood why. And I'd be like, hey man, I kind of noticed something feels a little bit off. I'm just wondering how you're feeling. He's like, no man, I'm good. It's like, okay. And again, it would happen again. And like, I felt this passive aggression. It was like, hey man, like everything all right? I'm just checking in. And I didn't realize until it got to the point where it was like a point of no return, to some extent, that he ended up blowing up. He's like, dude, we got to talk. I'm actually like really like frustrated. And I was like, okay. And he just like listed off like 8 months ago this happened, 6 months ago this happened. And like, he had a narrative about me. And we only got to speak about it for 20 minutes. But yeah, that interaction, I was like, I think more needs to be said here. But he's not the type that wants to address something. He'd rather just kind of like let it ride. So then when I see him in public, or if he ever reaches out, it just sends me this really insecure wave of like, I'm basically trapped. It's like a lose-lose feeling. And so Akash and Ashley were really wise in like taking a moment and being like, yeah, but it's the way you respond to it. Like, why is this bothering you so much? Basically, it's great he's doing this, it's triggering you, but why is it actually like, what is it? What's the deeper thing? Because there seems like there's something bigger that has to do with you that's making this seem so difficult to deal with, not necessarily like his behavior. He's an external, but at the end of the day, like it's all about the internals. It's all about the only thing we can control is the way we respond. And I was like, well, shit, thanks. I was like, yeah, well, that is true. Um, the pretty easy answer is like, all right, well, how do you fix the external? But they were like, no, go deeper. There's something here. And I think you guys started tapping into like a core wound. My core wound is somewhere in the realm of like not being understood. It's also probably my biggest gift, but that space between resolution and non-resolution is really painful for me when I stay around people. If we're not around them, it's not difficult. But when we try to ignore it, it's like it really does like mess with me. So yeah, I'm still integrating what we just discussed yesterday, but there's something there, and I feel it more clearly, and I think it's time to just be able to like live in a way where I say the things that I know I need to say, and if people don't take it well, it's a sign of like we were probably not meant to be close anyways. It's just the natural fallout, and I'm okay with the fallout. It's always before the action is the biggest fear, not the actual action or the result, which is like, which is just funny to say out loud.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all that, man. That I love that. Um, I was gonna say something and I forgot what it was.
I went off for a little too long.
No, I remember now. I just want to point out, like, to realize that this is truly something that's happening inside,
Mm,
and not continue to look outside in terms of what can I shift in my external reality to
mm,
fix this problem, is not something a lot of people can do, right? Because like it takes an immense amount of freedom and love that you have for yourself to really live a life that feels right to you, to look that deep, to even have the courage to look that deep. And I just want to call that out, man, because like that's part of the reason why I connected with you in the first place. Like
mm,
probably in our first conversation we ever had, is I felt this energy of like this person truly cares to live in a way that feels right to them.
mm.
And that's why we're having this conversation right now. And like you just keep showing me ways that that's true. Like every time we talk, every time we hang out about whatever subject it is. So I just wanted to like call that out because like I think it's so beautiful. And like I know like right now maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense yet,
Mm.
but like it's going to at some point.
It's coming. Like it needed to be said yesterday as much as it was like painful to me because you guys put it so close in front of my face that I'm like, you can't not look at it. You can't not do the thing. You can't not like acknowledge this, and it's going to set me free faster.
Yeah.
The truth sets you free. It's the crazy thing. Like, it's a scary idea for me in these types of relationships, but I'm like, what if I just said what was true? He doesn't like it, and it's not what he wants, and he's gonna, and it, and it, what, and it actually becomes what it is, which is a relationship that, or it could be a moment of redemption that he does actually prove me wrong. And he's like, I'm so grateful that, this is not what I wanted to hear in some extent, but it was like, this is maturity, or like, I apologize, or like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, or say like, I didn't actually think that at all. It's and if he never responds, it's also an answer.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
P.
Yeah, man. It's like you just do what feels right to you and you act in that truth and then trust that whatever outcome comes from that is exactly what's meant to happen.
Yeah. It's, yeah. It's so much it's scarier in the idea of doing a thing than it is to actually do the thing.
Yeah.
And we have all these narratives and about from stuff that's happened to us before, what this means and how to act. It's just like, it's exhausting, bro. If you just like are unapologetically yourself and you only keep around you the people that resonate with that, I feel like your life will be 20 times more full. It's like I read that in a book from The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Great book.
By Mark Manson. It's a phenomenal. Look, there's so many self-helps, but it's like that one really hit a shift in it. I just haven't lived it enough yet.
Mark Manson was the first author that ever got me on the self-help train. Like literally
Really?
10 years ago. Yeah. He had this book called Models. I don't know if you
Yes.
read it. You read it?
I haven't read it all.
Okay.
Um,
It came out in like '07, so this is, you're a little bit younger than me, so I don't know how old you were at that time, but I was in high school. And I think I came across the book in college, so it was like maybe 4 or 5 years later. And it was about like at the time it was like I'm trying to figure out how do I get women, how do I pick up girls, like how do I become better with women, because that was and honestly is a huge insecurity of mine in a lot of ways. Um, and the book was not about picking up women at all. It was about how do you become the best man, the best version of who you are to attract the woman that you want to attract. Like
mm,
there was nothing about here's the techniques you have to use to go and
mm,
pull chicks left and right.
mm.
And I don't know what language y'all use these days, but I'm just going to speak my millennial language.
Bagging. I'm just kidding. uh,
Right? Yeah. So like
at the Darty.
Akash,
I taught Akaash about it. Akaash.
yeah.
See, you have to say Andres. You messed mine up too. Uh,
Andres. Okay.
Akaash. Yeah, I taught Akash about Darties, Day Jam, Dagers. It was a thing back in Miami, and
I
whatever.
feel old. I feel a little old coming to Austin. I'll tell you that much. No, but like that, the book was about becoming the best version of who you are and trusting that that's gonna just attract the woman that you want. So that like by complete accident, like Trojan horse style, I was like introduced to self help, right? Because
Mm.
I thought this was about something else, but it wasn't, and that resonated so deep. And so it's really funny you brought up Mark Manson because like he's one of my first inspirations.
He's something, man. So many things I can pull from that book. Um, I want to do another shift. Can I go off with it? There's a specific kind of energy that's been exchanged between you and I that I think has been out of the ordinary beyond like from other friendships, and I think it's partly the reason why you're like, let's do a pod. Um, and something in my heart's like, talk about that energy or like sit with like, okay, but what is that thing? Um, And I want to talk, for some reason, this story is coming up. I feel like I've seen you change gears so quickly in our friendship in terms of like learning how to get to the place you want to be, the way you want to show up. We started going to the gym together when you first moved to Austin. I also like ran into you at the gym, didn't even know you were in Austin yet, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're in the same gym I just signed up for 3 days ago. Like that's crazy. Signs up for it. And there was this pivotal moment I'll never forget where we were in the locker room and I was on this obsessive kick about doing saunas and cold plunges every single day for that. I was like, regulate my nervous system and whatever. And so then you were like, you tried it a couple of days, and there was this one day you were like, I could tell you had said yes, you'll do it, but you didn't know if you actually wanted to do it yet that day. And you said, like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do it yet. And then I like looked at you and I was like, why don't you just take a second? I'm gonna go to the bathroom and you decide, and then I can come back. And I feel like you closed your eyes for a second, or that was like the next evolution. But I came back and you're like, yeah, let's do it today. I'm down for it. But there was this moment where we both knew that I was like, I want you to be you, and you want you to be you. And I was like, and there's like this permission given of like, I only want you to show up like this, and it is like also empowering. Um, for some reason, that example comes up. I wonder if you have more to say on it. And I think the reason why it's coming up is that was a small example of how I've seen both of us have been like learning how to like show up and shift more into ourselves and not into these things that we've been told for so long. You should show up like this. You should show up like that. You just like, no, I don't want to show up like that anymore. And you're like, if I don't want to do the cold plunge, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, it's of course, no disrespect. Don't do it. I don't want
Yeah.
you to do it.
Yeah. You know, until you brought that story up just now, I don't actually think I remembered it.
That's crazy because I was like, yo, we had a moment right now.
We did. No, but like
We did, we did.
as I'm remembering it, we absolutely did have a moment. And yeah, I could say there's so much I can say about this, but ultimately, man, yeah, like this is the first friendship. I'll be real for a sec. This is the first friendship in my life. And this is no disrespect to any of my friends who are listening to this or any of that, right? But just genuinely the first friendship where I feel like I am encouraged actively to be who I am. And the more I am who I am, the more I feel love from you.
Mm,
Like that's special.
bro, I don't know if I need to hear that again or you need to say it again because say that again. Say that again. It was like the more that I am who I am, the more I'm loved by you.
Yeah. And you know, like when I moved here and we went to the gym for the first few weeks, this is about 2 months ago. Um, I was like, obviously, I'm in a new city. I don't know anybody. I didn't feel this desperate energy of I need to make friends now. You know,
Mm,
like this never felt to me like either of like I think we both value friendships in the ways that we do. Like it's an important part of our lives. But I've never felt from you, and I've never felt from myself, at least since I moved here, that I need to make friends. I don't want to be alone. Like none of that existed. And all I've ever wanted to do since I moved here is just be who I am exactly. And that's a journey, right? Like it's the more I am around you and other people and environments and also by myself, the more I learn about who I really am, what is it I really want to do. And that's a whole other topic that we can get into. But that moment you met that story you just shared,
mm,
I'm just clicking right now. It kicked off this like couple weeks thing where like I deepened into that.
mm.
You remember I went to in
Yes.
middle of June, about a month back, I went to Albania and
Yeah.
Greece for like a music festival, and it was the same energy of I'm around strangers, I'm by myself, I don't know anyone here, but we're all here for music that we all love. And so this is a perfect place for me to practice being who I am, which means saying no to people I don't want to spend time with and I don't like their energy, saying yes to the people I do, and then also being okay just like telling people, "Hey, I'm going to go and check out this other stage. I'll see you guys in a little bit." And a past version of me would have been so afraid to say that because I would have feared being rejected, right? Like, oh, this, you know, I don't want this friend who I just met 3 days ago to feel like I don't want to be with them right now. or I don't want them to take it personally that I don't want to be in that. I don't want to watch this artist or whatever it is. Like this is like I've been going to raves for a minute. Like this is a kind of a rave, and this is what's happened in the past. Is like I can tell there's like this tension in my friend group of people who want to see different artists that they don't speak up because they don't want to disrupt the harmony of the group, and so they don't feel good. And then, but what happens is everyone else in the group can feel the energy go down because this person's energy goes down, right? Instead, we can just like do the things that we want to do with, and just lovingly share that and communicate that to the other person. And then I'm getting more and more proof that the more I do that, the more love I get back, which is just a trip, dude, because it's so counterintuitive.
It
It's so
is.
counterintuitive.
I just got the chills thing. Yeah, keep going.
It's oh, man, it is so freeing to live this way.
Yeah. And the best part is, it makes it a million times easier because the people that are loving you are loving you, like the actual you. And so it's like a positive feedback loop. It only makes you want to be you more, which makes you love them, like they love you more. And it's just like this. Um, I feel like I visibly saw the changes, but then like sometimes in the actual, can I share something kind of vulnerable that I saw one time from you?
Yes.
Another thing I'll like never forget. I thought about this for like a whole week after I saw this happen in you. We were sitting in your apartment and we were talking, and it was like I think the first time we had moments we talked for like an hour and a half and get deeper in this and that, but I was like, we hadn't broken that wall of like real closeness. I feel like to hearing, I think it was like hearing your story, and it was like the right time where it was like, I feel like this happens early in friendships that are just really deep. You hear about their life, you hear about their story, and I just like wanted to know. I was like, tell me more. Like, tell me, friends growing up, what it was like, and struggles, this and that, parents. Um, and there was so many times where you tried to stop me because you were like, all right, enough about me, enough about me. You're up, and I'm like, what are you talking about, man? We're in the best part of the story. I was like, how are we gonna stop talking about you when you're literally at the thing where I'm eating the freaking popcorn right now, bro. We're in the cinema. Like this is like about a climax. You're telling me about how like this insecurity or like fighting this moment, this big moment, right? And I'm just like, and you're like, and I just saw visibly you were like, oh, I'm being too much, or like, this needs to be equal, and that means that like, and there's like a transactional aspect, and I was like, none of that, and you did it like 3 or 4 times, and I think at one point I looked at you and I was like, dude, I don't want to. I literally was like, okay, a little bit about me, and I was like, I don't even want to tell you anything right now. I want to hear. That's what I want. Um, and then you looked at me and you were like, and you think you got a little emotional. You're like, I don't think. He's like, you actually care. I was like, yeah, of course I care, bro. I'm like sitting here asking these questions, and you're like, no, I don't know if I've felt this where someone actually is like listens this much because they actually care and they actually want to know me.
I'm getting emotional just thinking about that. I don't even. I feel like sadness coming in as you were sharing this,
Mm,
just around the sentimentality of it. But I'm not able to like bring
yeah,
it out right now, which is fine.
it's okay.
Yeah, up until that moment, and again, this is not a knock. Like I hope no one takes this as a knock, but like legit, I mean this with love. But I up until that point, I was basically taught or conditioned that friendships are transactional,
Mm,
right? Like I say 5 minutes of stuff from my life. Okay, I'm done. Now it's your turn to share 5 minutes about your life, and like that
mm,
makes it even. That makes it an even exchange. And if I ever felt like I was speaking too much, I would judge myself because I would be like, "Oh, look at you, just wanting to talk about yourself." And this person probably has all these things in their life that they want to share with you. So why are you hogging all the attention, right? And like it comes from a place of me feeling like I never, like, I don't think this is probably deeper than I even realized as I'm speaking out loud about it now, about the amount of love that I've just never allowed in. And
Mm,
this is also making me realize now that there are the same people in my in my life previously who I'm saying the friendship felt more transactional, probably did show me love in ways that I just didn't see. Um,
fair.
and I think and I shared with you and Ashley yesterday, um, that this is one of my core wounds. It's receiving love and feeling like people genuinely do care about me is so hard for me to accept. It's just like it's such a foreign idea because
Mm,
my whole life I thought that I have to like earn people's love, I have to earn their trust, I have to earn their presence with me. So yeah, when you shared that, and when you were like genuinely like were like confused, like there was no like, bro, like you were like, what are you talking about? Like I actually genuinely want to know what you're saying.
yes.
I was like, what? Like who? Like what? Like no one up until that point has ever
Mm.
said that to me, and I just felt it, man. And yeah, like I'm just truly grateful and blessed for that moment. That was beautiful. Thanks for bringing that up because yeah, and you mentioned that it had like an impact on T. This is me literally right now doing this thing where I want to bring it back to you because I'm like I'm being too much.
Amazing that you caught it. Hey, it's a hard wiring, man. It's amazing though, because eventually you'll short circuit it, and then
Yeah.
eventually it just won't be your thought. You know, my my mom is probably the best listener that I know. And I think that's the gift that she gave me, both in modeling what that looks like and also like having being that person in my life for so long. Um, but even my mom, which sorry if I'm saying this, I actually think it's allowed to be said. My mom says the most difficult thing to find in people is good listeners. And they say across the board, like when you look at the psychology studies, it's like listening is the most, like, is the thing that is the medium that people can be most loved in. And yet it's the rarest trait. And it's like my mom has one, maybe two people in her life that she like can't get enough of and loves as her friends. And when I've asked her why, and they don't even live in her state, in her city, and she's like, because they listen to me in a way that I'm like, I know they actually care about me. Like I know they actually love me. And she's like, that's I've got my whole life. It's almost impossible to find. Um, yeah. And it's crazy because I think I even told you, here comes it comes back again. You've been doing this thing where you've been processing and like realizing there's something that you want to grow in or whatever, and you'll just send me a voice message out of nowhere once you've like started to figure out the thing, and you're like, hey man, like I've noticed we haven't been connecting as intimately recently, and I like miss that. And I was like, wow. I was like, he noticed. I was like, I didn't think. I was like, maybe I thought we were just slipping back into this like a little bit more superficial. And my response, do you remember my response to you was like, I was like, I feel the same way. But to be transparent with you, the reason why I haven't been going deeper when we're talking is because in certain moments I'm like, I haven't known if you wanted to hear me or not. And it was like on the listening standpoint, I was like, maybe I'm sensitive to body language. And if someone, is tapping their leg or moving, I was like, okay, isn't the time to go deep? And once I said that, I feel like something clicked. And I haven't really felt it from you. And in fact, it's been the opposite. And it's like, yeah, I feel loved in return.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, and I shared with you also when you mentioned that this is not the first time I've gotten that feedback from
Mm,
others in my life. Um, so it was, we're talking again, not to talk about things that the audience is not going to understand here, but like one of the conversational topics yesterday when we were talking about what Andres mentioned yesterday around, or earlier on this podcast around like his the friend situation, is like we talked about how anything unresolved inside is going to keep appearing in our life and looping. It just loops in
Just
different
loops.
ways. So like we'll I this has happened 2 times in the past. Um, I mean, at least 2 times I can think of, and I'm sure many more. But two specific instances of friends mentioning to me that, hey, I don't feel like you're with me when we're actually
Mm.
talking. And each of those times, I would say the right things and I would say the right words to like console the situation in the moment, but I didn't actually collapse the loop. Like it was still active, you know.
Mm.
And so I think when you mentioned it to me that time, because I felt, wow, this is someone I genuinely respect and love and care for, and I feel that in return, which I probably, these other two friends I'm thinking about are honestly the same, but I'm just in
Mm.
a different space now these days. I was able to hear the ask underneath your words, and it made so much sense to me. So I'm happy. Like I don't feel like I'm doing anything intentionally different. I just heard you and it registered.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh man. It's crazy how in just 2 months of knowing each other, we've had so many of these like moments where
I know what you mean. This is the kind of stuff where I'm like, this helps you communicate better with a future partner and like develop better friendships. And it's like, my mom always says every time I have either difficult friendships, it's like, oh, it's teaching you how to like be a better communicator. But even when I have good friendships, it's like we both slowly like let down our guard to some extent. And she said like, dude, kind of been noticing this, or like kind of been, or don't, if you don't want to do that, don't do that. And it's like you're becoming more yourself. So that when you meet someone, it's like almost going back to the Mark Manson thing. Eventually, you're gonna be so Akaash that it's like it's hard not to have someone be like, "What, dude? Why am I not? Why am I so attracted to this guy?" A partner will feel whole because you are whole, and you'll be able to communicate to her, and you'll notice you're so good with energy. Like you pick up energy really easily. The moment I'm off, you're like, "Bro, are you good?" Like it's not even half a second, and I know when you know. Even before you said it, I know that you know. I'm like, yep. Now I'm like, I'm noticed. Um, but yeah, I could see it. Were there those things, those insecurities, those little moments where you're like, I don't know if I want to do this, but I want to hurt his feelings. Like you'll probably notice it in a partner one day, and she'll feel so loved because you can be like, I can tell you don't want to go to this thing.
yeah.
Then let's not. Then don't go, or like let's not go. Like, what do you want? And it's like to be able to shift that back from you spent so many years, or honestly, same with me, having spent so many years in a mind where it's like, how do I feel? How am I not going to hurt them? Versus what? Oh, I noticed this. What do they need? Like that shift, it one is attractive as hell, and two, it just has so much more space for love. It's about the other. It's not about you. And like that, when the energy in your own mind, even in your own heart, is it's not about you. It's something bigger than you. I mean, that's where like the magic happens. That's where you get engrossed in like some kind of work that like takes off. It's all there.
Yeah. It's crazy because I'm thinking back to past like romantic relationships I was in
Hmm.
where I would notice these things that you're mentioning, like energetically, I would notice if someone's feeling off, for example, and I would bring it up, but I didn't have the like I never like it's funny how for when I mentioned that to you, like this is actually something unresolved or unprocessed. This just came to me as you mentioned that. So I'll share this. When you said that to me, wait, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
When you notice that I'm off, you tell me.
And you tell, yeah, right. So you tell me that, and like it's you feel noticed, right? You feel like, oh, this person's with me. In the past, when I brought up similar things, that was not the response I got. It was very much the opposite of like this person felt like I was watching them all the time, you know. And
Yes.
so it's crazy, and like there's probably I don't even understand why that's the case at this very moment, and that's something maybe to think about, but it's interesting how that's changed, you know, because like that I feel like I've always had this ability to like sense into people's feelings like really deeply, like to the point where I might even feel what they're feeling more than they're aware of the feeling
Yes.
itself,
Yes.
which makes it so hard for me to really be in my own energetic. I brought this up with you before, but in my own
Mm-hmm.
kind of energetic container around people. So thanks for sharing that, because it's actually just, it gives me like tangible proof that I can be in my own energy, and it also help like notice things and call it out in a way that's, maybe I called it out in a way that was loving, and maybe in the past it wasn't loving the way I called out someone's energy before in like a romantic sense, you know. It all goes back to love, man. It all goes back
It
to
all
like
goes back. You know, I've also called people out and they've been like, why are you psychoanalyzing me? Or like, get off my back or whatever. And I have like twofold answer. Like, there's the answer in me that's like, well, we're probably poking at something that they don't want to look at or that's too painful for them to look at. And it's more comfortable to just stay in the container of like, this isn't there, avoid it. And there's also the other part of me that's like, some people are at a place where they desire it. And I think now you're probably going to just keep attracting. You're only really going to stay around with the people that desire it. And it's the best thing that's for you because it's your gift. Like your gift is you notice. It's one of your big, great gifts. And so someone who feels loved when they're noticed is a great,
mm,
compatible person to be with or be around. Because your gift is now cherished instead of like pushed away.
mm, I love that. Yeah. And it's I I feel a lot of, you want to know, we're going there. This isn't incredible already. We're going there.
I
Okay.
felt it right when we got on. I was like, let's just screw this. I was like, there's no scripts. Just.
I tried 5 minutes of small talk, and Andreas was like, "Bruh, the fuck
I
out
was
of
like, bro,
here."
I don't even know you anymore. Get out of here. Who are you? What's your story? I was like, I'm from Miami. I was like, bro, get that noise out of here.
Oh man. So what one thing that I'm sure I've shared this with you. Something that I've really struggled with, and I shouldn't use the word struggle because it's very like intense. It's more of like an inner kind of like, I just notice when it comes up, is like how much of my being and doing in life is coming from ego,
Hmm.
right? So like I'm constantly monitoring myself of like, where is this energy coming from? Is it coming from, oh, I want to look good, I want to be perceived as, insert whatever word you want there, wise, helpful, whatever, like, or like, am I coming from that energy, or am I coming from the energy of pure giving, of like,
Hmm.
this is what if I connect to my heart, this is what is being asked in this moment, and I'm simply the vessel through which I'm going to deliver what it is, and that's obviously the way we want to. You feel
You
that?
can't see it through the cam, but I got the chills.
Yeah, like when that happens, we feel so whole, right? When we operate from that place of just like, I'm just gonna say even just a sentence instead of over explaining. I just need to say one
Hmm.
sentence that comes from the heart, and it's gonna have way more power and impact and truth than if I try to explain it in 16 ways with every possible explanation, so that I can counter every counter argument that could possibly be presented for anything. Like sometimes that's how I speak, where I'm always considering all the different possibilities, and like that's kind of coming from ego too, in a sense. Like to be afraid of my ego is an ego thing in a way.
It's yes, you have to. The only way to interact with it is like with this nice tension. Like you have to be. It has to be there, but it can't consume you, and you can't not have it. So it's like you have to walk this fine line.
Yeah. So when you said it's a gift, my body was like, "Fuck yeah, I have a gift," and then the other part of me is like, "Ugh, I don't want to tell people I have a gift. That makes me seem like I'm full of myself." Like
Mm,
like you said, there's this tension
tension.
every single time, and it's still something that exists. It's not as loud as it was like a year ago, I would say, but it's still very much there. And I think it through because of its presence, I still filter a lot.
You know what I want to say right now? Do you ever say thank you to it? Thank you for being here. Thank you for making me want to feel seen. Thank you for wanting me to seem prideful. Thank you for trying to course correct me. Like, I'm grateful.
I think I only do that if I'm like in a meditation and or something, and I'm in that space, but not on the go. Oh, I love that. Just
Something just came to me. I was starting to get chills, and then it ramped up when you were talking. But before you even got to the part that gave me chills from what you said was, I just heard that come up in my heart. It was like, what if every time his ego starts to kick in, whether it's to make him more prideful or to make him, in a good way, like vocalize something that needs to be said. I'm like, what if it was just thank you? It was like, thank you almost feels like the words that fit the middle of the tension of both sides. It's like, if you're dragging me this way, thank you.
yeah,
And if you're dragging me this way, thank you. I'm just grateful that you're here.
I love it. I love it. That's beautiful,
Okay,
man.
can I say something? This is crazy. I forgot about this.
Let's go.
This is so dramatic. I can't believe I'm gonna say this on
Did you say
cam.
dramatic or
Dr
traumatic?
dramatic.
Dramatic.
I can't believe I'm about to say this on cam, but there was a season of time in college where I like was trying to get over like a lust issue that I had. And someone told me this, and this was like from a religious frame, but I'll never forget this, and it's in this line of thinking. He's like, every time you see a beautiful woman, he's like, and if you're in the lust season or you're struggling with lust, you're gonna have two thoughts, tension. You're gonna have, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. That's the good part. And then you're gonna be like, oh, she's kind of bad. And you start thinking in the whole realm of thoughts that come with that, what you want to do, whatever. What can I gain? And he was like, every time it comes up, say thank you. And say, and then it was something in the realm of like, thank you for their beauty. Thank you for making them this way. I hope that you like I hope that their purity is contained in whatever, I pray for their purity. It was like in a prayerful sense. I was religious back then in that way. But then the last layer was like, also thank you for that desire that I have, both the lust and and just like the drawn to the beauty, um, because then it like made me more whole. They're both me, like, and the lust was just taking too much of the reins, and I had for a long time religion painted lust in such a negative light. And eventually I've come to like more full circle where it's like when I look at a beautiful girl, I don't get the second thought as the primary. I sometimes don't even get it as a secondary. And if I get it as a secondary, great. But now it's like I feel so much beauty, and then as a part of that is like I also feel drawn, like the in even a lustful erotic sense, but it's like in a good way. It's like, yeah, because I see you, I want to know you, and now I want to like know you. And hopefully hopefully in knowing you there's something there. It's like now I want to know you even further. But there was something in that started to make me whole, and I did it every like I did it was intense, but I did it like every day. There's beautiful women all over campus, for weeks on end until like it went away. Like I didn't even have to say it.
Can I ask you about that?
Please.
So what comes to mind for me is like I'm imagining someone listening to this is like, okay, cool, like this makes sense. You'd be grateful for everything that comes up, even if it's not something that you would think you'd be grateful for, right? Like something you're trying to change about yourself. How do you go from just like mechanically saying it because you're supposed to, like every time you notice it, you're like, thank you, and then you just go about your day, like that. That's
There's a heart. Like, how do you get to the heart of it?
yeah, versus like getting to the place where it's truly how you feel, like you truly feel grateful versus you're performing gratitude.
So I'm still developing my relationship with prayer because I'm looking at it through like a secular lens now, or I guess prayer used to be for me someone outside of me I'm talking to, and now I'm trying to see it as like there's God and there's Andres, they're all one, and I'm like I'm talking to that place that's like the heart of me. And so back then I still think it spoke to the same place. It was a different relation in the way I said it out loud, but that's how I got into actually caring, because I would make the sign of the cross. So I was Catholic, and in saying that, I would close my eyes. It was like I would stop what I'm doing, and it was an intention if I could. Other times I was like mechanical, but I would try to make it a point at least one time in the day, I would stop whatever I'm doing and actually like say it. Even for all the previous times, I would try to feel it. I would actually try to feel it and actually try to be like, do I believe they're actually beautiful? Do I believe that I'm actually grateful for this? Um, I call it the heart of hearts. I talked about it at the dinner table the other day, but when I close my eyes and I like quiet down and I ask myself an actual question, am I grateful for them? When everything's like when you go into that place in your heart, it's hard not to like get it to actually be a part of you and like to actually like mean it.
So are you like are you dropping your awareness into your like heart space? Is that what's happening?
it yes, I that was how I started it because I also came with such a pure intention to start the act of like, I pray for, I'm grateful for my lust and grateful for her and all this stuff. I started on such a like, I want to kick this. I don't know how to kick this. So it was so heart driven that my heart was very much already open. And then as it went on, it became more mechanical on the outside, but the intention was so pure that it was always like passing through and healing and healing and healing and healing and sealing until eventually it was like, it's me.
That's so beautiful. Oh, I love that. I legitimately feel like this is like whatever process you went through to feel that purity that you're describing. If people who are just like the average person who feels stuck in their life in whatever way is able to feel that in whatever way makes sense in the context of their life, like that has the potential to transform society. Because people like once you feel that purity, it's like this is who I actually am, and the feeling is so. I mean, for lack of a better word, it's so good. It feels so right. It feels so whole. It feels so you just there's nothing else needed. It's just complete. That like when you tune into that, I feel like you can start comparing things in your life outside of that particular context where you're feeling that to that feeling, and it becomes like your own like compass that you navigate with.
Mm.
But
Yes.
only if you truly tune in to that like that pure kind of frequency, whatever you want to call it, energy.
But the irony is, unless you truly desire the change and it's coming from this place of like, man, I really need this or I really want this, you won't really get into that place. And so I'm almost like, if anyone ever listens and whoever listens, it's like, I almost feel like it doesn't matter who it is that's listening because the person who's ready is gonna do it, and they're gonna do it for the right reason. So it's like beautiful, and
Mm,
it won't work if you do it for the wrong reasons or I just want to be a better person just cause I don't really care that much. Yeah, I still want to. I don't care if I'm lusting or I don't care about being grateful. It doesn't work. It misaligns with that that part of you. Um, and so
yeah,
like the person who's ready and wants it, the shift happens and then they take this and it's like a golden nugget and then it transforms and it bears fruit and then just keeps
yeah.
going.
So one more question on that.
Please.
What do you feel like? What did you feel about that particular scenario? Or let's call it a loop, maybe because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, what about it had you reach a point where you were like, let me actually
Mm.
be grateful for this? And only share what you want to
Yeah,
share.
yeah, boy, my boy, and hitting the nail on the head. He's like, "Yo, where'd that come from, though? Like, why'd you even start this to begin with?" Um, oh, let's gets into it. Yeah, I mean, I started watching porn and masturbating since I was like 9. And so this is the classic male story, but it's like weird. There's a ton of guys that have been this in this camp, but it's weird when you start before you even hit puberty, before you even like have a prefrontal cortex, because then it just snuck in. Like lust and not knowing how to understand beauty and your sexuality and intimacy, especially with a woman. Like for me, it was always muddy. Like my first crush was muddied before I even had the crush. And so there came a point where I was 20 and I was like, it's been 11 years. And there's a journey to this and maybe one day I'll share the story more, but it's not I had tried to stop for so long. stop. But this is, again, there's always a full circle to this. It's like, it's stop because it's bad, but no, stop because I couldn't stop it. It's an addiction. It has control of you. It hijacks you. And so that was the desire. I was like, I have this lust, and I'm like, I don't want it because it's not integrated. It's not making me whole. It has the reins. It just does whatever it wants with me, terrorizes me. Um, and so I was like, no, I'm gonna tame it. I'm gonna be the one in the driver's seat. And the ironic part was the way to get there was to be grateful and to see what actually is. Like, I will say I pendulated first. This story is making it sound like I accepted the lust and the gratitude immediately. I was like, no lust. I just did like a dopamine detox for 90 days with a bunch of close friends of mine. It was like no go. Like everything's a no go. And it's like, dude, in uncomfortable moments, told my boys like, bro, I'm struggling. I'm trying to, and they're like, all right, if you fold, we're sleeping on the floor. I was like, all right, I'm not folding. I was like, fuck. But if yeah, I went that way, and then eventually got more towards like integrating and grateful. And now I'm like in a season. That was when I was 20. I'm 26. Um, and it's just only become I'm allowed to feel lust and all those other things that I used to deem as no good, not healthy, in a way that I think is so much. It's just so much more integrated to like our humanity. It doesn't have the driver's seat, but it's there because it's supposed to be there, and it's beautiful because it is. But it's like, again, it needed
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. I love I'll just, there's like an awareness to all this. Like, even though you're
Mm.
going through it, you're still noticing what's happening. Like, oh, I'm still stuck in this pattern. Like, you see the pattern, right? You might
Hmm.
not know how to get out of the pattern, but at least you see the pattern. And then you'll try different things, and you might try swinging it all the way to the other end. And then eventually it lands exactly where it's supposed to land, and it helps you kind of break free. So that's cool.
It's the balance of the tension.
Yeah.
I have a theory that everything in life is a balance of two tensions.
Yeah. You and every Taoist, Buddhist, and Hinduist.
There you go. Exactly. I'm not saying anything revolutionary. It's the thing.
Bro, you're reinventing, like, not even reinventing. You're discovering eternal truths just by living.
Like, the
That's
funniest part is, like, I wish I had these texts because I was like, the few times I've come across them, I'm like, bro, I've been saying this forever. I was like, yo, I'm down. I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah, they got it
cool,
figured
man.
out.
Well, I feel like this is a good place to stop for today. How do you
Amazing,
feel?
amazing, dude.
Yeah, this is. I cannot believe this is already an hour. Actually, why don't we do one last thing? Why don't we do a quick like recap of how we feel about what just
Jeez,
happened,
I
and then we'll
love it.
log off.
Hit me.
All right, I can start. I feel like for about 25 to 30 minutes, I lost track of time,
Yeah,
like in the middle. And then I felt fatigue start to come in the last 10, 15 minutes or so,
yeah.
right? Which is interesting. I'm gonna see how that kind of like tracks moving forward. And I think that's just part of, talking to someone for like, you can't always be in flow the whole time, right? But there was definitely like a long period of time where I felt very much in flow, and it was awesome. And even the times that we're not in flow were awesome too. Like,
Hmm.
it's like
It's a
90% versus
muscle.
100%.
It's a
Yeah,
muscle.
it's a muscle. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
I have this saying with. Are you done with what you were feeling?
Um, One thing also I add is I'm happy that you pushed a little bit for us to like just
Hmm.
dig, and kind of also led by example. So thanks for doing that, and it made this really special.
Dude, there's gonna be times where you lead it, and there's gonna be times where it just feels like it just came out. We started talking, and I immediately was like, "Let's go there." Um, so I love that it was the right move, and you ran with it. I have this thing. I'm pretty sure I say it to Ashley. I say that saints come in pairs, and I read, and it's similar to like co-founders of a business. Like 95% of the time, you get a co-founder in the first 6 months because there's something magical that happens with pairs versus just a solo. There's a few people that are solo riders that are just amazing for them. But I'm realizing in that 20 minutes, 30 minutes that both of you and I lost track of time, it's what happens when I notice when saints, I call it the saints come in pair energy. It's just like the air in the room changes, and it like almost makes the both people high, so to speak. Um, and what's passing through is something bigger than them. It's a transcendent opportunity. Um, and it's the same as like artists who talk about the muse. It was the muse, and it's like the saints came in pairs, and when they came together, like the air changed. And I felt like in those 30 minutes, I felt the same exact thing.
Bruh, that is mic drop material right there.
uh,
100% same page. I love that. It was pure presence. Like you can name
yes,
it however you want, but
yes.
that's what life's all about. So grateful for you, my friend. Thank you for coming on. This has been so much fun. We'll try to do this every week. If you're down next week, I won't be here, so we'll do 2 weeks for this first or second episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope this was interesting and fun for the viewers. It's always weird to say that, but
That's like a weird ass concept to me.
I know people are not viewers, I guess listeners. But yeah, any last words, my friend?
It as well.
Perfect. All right, till next time, y'all. Much love.